Hey guys, this is Alex from Alex's Reef. Hey, thanks for coming back again for another video, and I'd like to say thanks to all those that have subbed to the channel. We went from like 2 people to 18 or 20. It's pretty good for me. I didn't ever think it would even go that far, as I was just making some videos for some contest and maybe just keep some documentation. A little background about me and maybe this tank. Kind of entered the hobby several years ago, kind of at the phase where T8s were going out, T5s were kind of the main thing, and so were metal halides. This was even kind of, and then I remember when the beginning of LEDs coming into the market came in. Some bad advice on one of my first tanks came from actually several family members that had been in the hobby, and the reason why I got into it. Kind of where T8s were getting phased out, and that's what they used, so they kind of got me into that, and it really just didn't go over all that well. So it's been several years since I'd attempted to even do a tank. So now that I've come back to the hobby, I've watched for several years and even planned out a build, even though it's for a nano tank. Um, yeah. So it does feel good. It's good to see that the hobby is back, and just to see the technology of how it evolved over the years from something like T8s to T5s, metal halides to LEDs, and then kind of going back towards those T5s. And seeing newer species come in and different things that we've added, and just a change overall of coral colors and coral availability, even in local areas. So it's great to see that the hobby has stayed strong and stayed together. Um, so just killing a little bit of time, just kind of doing a little bit of videotaping here, just a little bit of what's going on. There is some diatoms going on in the tank, and that's nothing unnormal for a tank that's still going through a cycling process. And there was water, rocks, and of course some live sand and bacteria and all that jazz going on for a little while. Cycled the tank for about 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and then started to add a fish. Of course, the first fish that was added was the tail spot blenny, which he's actually hiding under this cropped rock here. It's kind of become his new spot, as a new fish has now joined in to the pack. And so he's kind of taken over his old spot, and sometimes they get along, they'll go hang out, no problem. The conch is fairly new, and he's already fit in. He's gotten stuck a couple of times, and then it's kind of fun to watch him unstick himself when he gets jammed. Where you see that conch at those rocks were actually pushed a little bit closer a while back in some of the older videos, and I had to separate it out a little bit, because I noticed when I was doing phantom feeding that actually the pellets would go down in between these two rocks where that conch is, and it would get trapped, and the flow just wasn't getting down in there strong enough to blast them out of the crack. So I kind of separated them a little bit. The separation was good. It opened it up. It gave it a little bit of flow. It allows like that conch to go back and forth between the back of the tank and the front of the tank. So it's really nice. And the tail spot bunny has mixed in pretty well with everybody. So at this point, it's doing good. Um, and I did change up some filter media as well. Change up some media. I'll cover that in just a second. Just zooming in there on that tail spot bunny and that conch, because they are pretty cool, and actually my son does enjoy that conch very much. It's one of his favorites right now, until we put maybe like a crab in there. Now, I did get asked a question a little bit ago how I would clean the acrylic on this tank. This tank is actually not made of acrylic. This company, Marine Space, which is, of course, I've said in another video, it's a foreign brand that teamed up with Zetlite to enter into the market and make a package for beginners. So if you have a Zetlite retailer near you, they can actually order you this tank in if you go talk to them. The glass is actually auto grade glass, which was pretty nice. It guarantees the clarity, so it's kind of like that low iron glass. But looking into it, of course, like if you notice some auto glasses, if they're impacted, they shatter like tempered glass. It just doesn't shatter in the shards, which is nice for if, say, my kids would ever break the tank or something would happen that the tank would break. I wouldn't have to quite worry about them being injured from that. Unfortunately, it did have a top panel with it for a cover, and that did get broken. That wasn't auto grade glass at all. That was just normal pane glass. I talked about changing over some filter medias. This is the Two Fishies magnet. It is small, but the power there is pretty real. It will clean that glass. It just takes a little bit longer, but it is very nice, and it doesn't pick up the sand. Now, I did move over to Respec Carbon from Red Sea versus the Kimi Pure Blue. I just for the amount of money that I'm going to spend, the Kimi Pure Blue is almost 12 bucks. This is 13. I'm going to get 5 uses out of this carbon. And to mix it up, because the Kimi Pure Blue was a 3-in-1 media, I did add some Purigen. So having Purigen in there, which will do the same as what the some of the added in for that Kimi Pure Blue would, it'll just last me a little bit longer, and it's renewable, unlike that Kimi Pure Blue was. Now, I do have some food for the fish as well. I'm trying out the seaweed. If anybody else knows of another seaweed brand that they like better, please let me know. I have tried out these PE Mices shrimp pellets. That was a sample brand from saltwateraquarium.com. I really don't like them all that much. They are good at floating, but if you find them in your filter days later, they are still nice and hard. They just and the fish just don't seem to enjoy them as much. But the Hikari, I've noticed that whether it be the Marine S or the Veggie, the Tailspot Bunny will have at both of those, no problem. He doesn't spit them back out. He goes for them, and when they break down, they're a little bit more textured and palatable and easier for the fish to eat. And I am using Aquaforce's sea salt lineup for fish only and or soft corals. Starting at this point, I'm not going to look at being too demanding coral wise. I may adjust later. I did happen to stop into my local Petco just because I had to pick up some stuff and just kind of let the kid look around. And I saw this parasite stuff here. It says it's safe for aquariums and saltwater and freshwater and with inverts. It just says it's an all-natural substance. So I'm wondering if, since somebody like Petco bought out Dr. Foster Smith's website and their inventory, if they didn't team up with another company like how Walmart has their own brand, they carried another brand under their name. And of course, I do always keep some Seachem Prime on hand as well, just in case something would come up that wasn't ideal for, like, if I ran out of RODI water or something like that. I would at least have a very good water conditioner on hand to use. As well as it does work for other things. If you read into the directions, it can also help to make nitrates and nitrites safe and lock them down for a very short period of time, as well as clean out chlorine and ammonia. So it's a good double use product, and it is good to keep on hand just in case something would ever happen. Yeah, so I like that. So I said there was a new member to the family, and there he is, hiding on that rock of that tailspot bunny, which makes him mad, and he runs to the other side of the tank. Around to the back of the tank, and I have this Cobalt Maxi Jet 1200 power head back there as the main driver for the system. I do have a bag of the Brightwell Biomedia, and under here I have the Aquamax Pure Flow filter floss. I have a 60 part per square inch sponge, and then the of course the carbon and Purigen, and then another 30 part sponge underneath that. And then I have the Tunzi nano skimmer, and this is actually the first nano skimmer I've had. It's very nice. I moved around back front again, and earlier I focused on the side of the rock when we first saw the new member, and the tailspot blender was actually hiding in the side there, but coming back around, he's done moved back across the tank, and he's hiding in this hole again. He has been named Derp, as the family has called him Derp, like he's kind of derpy looking. And he is cool. He's pretty fun to watch in the tank, but he does have a derpy looking face. So that's Captain Derp over there. And now this is the new member of the family. He is a yellow clown goby. We wanted to get the green clown goby, but my local cell just doesn't have them. All right, folks, thank you for coming, and please keep subbing. Thank you very much for your support.